Even though I'm local, after being 10 years in Italy and 10 years in US, when I moved back here, to me it was just insane that even for having job interviews, they would invite me for coffee. Not all of them, but if they are, for example, high-level CEOs, they'll tell me like, oh, you moved here after 20 years, that's exciting. How about we get a coffee and learn a bit more about you? I'm like, get a coffee? There are traditional interviews, but again, the more informal ones are handled over coffee. I thought to myself that maybe I need to explain this coffee culture in Albania altogether, which is kind of all over the same when you move to our country, and thought why not just share it with you as well. Depends what we're referring to. If we refer to coffee as culture, yeah, that is a long tradition and we just love having our coffee, which is like community feel. It's an experience more than just enjoying the coffee itself like you might enjoy in Italy. While living in Italy for 10 years, I got addicted to the coffee portion of it, but I was also surprised there that when you go for a coffee break, let's say lunchtime at work, we would go to the bar next to our office, and we might not even sit in a desk somewhere around there in our office, or not even at the bar. We just go, stay there, and we wait for the barman to just prepare our coffee and take it for a sip, and you're done. That is the culture of coffee there, even though they are addicted to coffee. But in Albania, that's quite a different experience. For us, it's about sitting with our friends and family, having a long conversation, and even though it's like a short espresso, you might take maybe an hour minimum, an hour and a half too, to actually finish that coffee, regardless if you smoke or not. It's about having the time, the social time to sit and enjoy the presence, to talk to your friends and family and have that experience all together. Now, is this something that you enjoy? Yes, if you are maybe on a vacation and you have time to share, then you do that and it kind of feels nice. But if you are in a workplace environment, especially if you haven't lived here and then you just move here, it might even feel as a frustration. If you're not close a business deal or anything like that, you go over coffee. You discuss something, you go over coffee. So this coffee thing started becoming like very discomfort for me, and especially when I started working in a company here, I saw the younger generation as well. They would not come to the office at 8, let's say, if they had to start at 8 or start at 9. They would first come, leave their bags, and then they'll go get the coffee. It's not just get the coffee like you go, for example, in US, when I was getting the coffee in the next office in the lunch room. It maybe take 10 minutes there and get your tea, you bring it back to your desk. Here it was like, no, this would just get together and go to the bar nearby, and it would come around 9:30 and be fine, they're just taking their own time, and I was just going insane. So if you're used to a more type of standard official way of working, then I'm not saying this is not a country for you, but you need to adjust a little bit. It also depends on the culture that they're creating. Not all of them allow it like that, but it is a very common thing to see. So don't freak out if you start working here. You're not just like working remotely with other companies from the countries you came from, or just other remote jobs, but you might face this as well. Let's go back to what type of coffee. If you're going to somebody's house, especially in the past, it is a given. They would bring stuff for you, regardless if it's some candies or any juice, any dessert if they have, and depending if there is a celebration of something, they always have to prepare some candy, chocolates, some desserts for you, and maybe even put some fruits in front of you and have some liquor, if you're a woman, sweet liquor, for example. At the end, there is always the coffee, Turkish coffee. If you want to see what that means, if you go to a traditional Albanian house, especially as I said back in the days, because you'd go and visit other people's houses, you don't usually go to a bar, unless you're a man. In the past, men would go to their man bar, typical. Now you don't find so many of those, but you still can find some bar that says bar café. If you see that, then that's a traditional man bar. So go have their little liquor in the morning, but usually the bar is espresso, and in their houses it's Turkish coffee. If you go to a local's house, they would ask you, how do you want the coffee? It's just Turkish coffee, but they ask, is it going to be sweet? Is it going to be maybe with 1 coffee spoon, and that's the size, depending on how much you want. And That's a traditional white one, but if you have brown sugar, that's fine. It's not very traditional here. Then the Turkish coffee, the consistency, as you see, it's similar to espresso, but it just tastes different. Let's make one for my mom, who just had her lunchtime. They always have a coffee after lunch. So maybe I'll add a little bit, otherwise she doesn't let me do it again for her because she says it's not that good. And then sugar. So maybe I'll do this much. As you see, I'm mixing the consistency. And then we add enough water to fill a cup of espresso. The water is cold. It's not from the fridge, obviously, but it doesn't have to be warm. We're gonna warm it up right now. Now we just go ahead and mix it. We still use these matches. Just have to enjoy as you do it. It's a tradition. The secret here is to keep blending it slowly. We don't usually go to each other's houses unless we're really close to them, unless they have a reason. For example, in the past they would come, even if you buy a washing machine, you'd go to that cousin's house and you'd go for, they say, having the coffee for the fridge, having the coffee for washing machine that they just got. That's because, you know, our country went through communism and it was really tough economically for many families. So even just buying a new TV was a big deal, and that was not something that everybody could afford. If you are lucky enough to get to have it, then maybe most of your relatives will show up in your house, and they don't just show up to have the coffee. They bring money to you, or if you have a wedding, they also come to the wedding, but at the same time they would come another day in your house to have the coffee for the marriage of somebody, a marriage of a couple. There used to be traditions, maybe a bit overwhelming to those who are hosting them, but at least it kept us close to one another, and that's the community sense of feeling. Whereas nowadays that doesn't really happen. You go to a bar, and at the bar you get the espresso. If you are asking for coffee, which in Albanian you say café, they don't even ask you, are you asking for Turkish coffee or espresso? They just bring you espresso in the restaurant after dinner, or if you just go to a bar. Now, if you want Turkish coffee at the bar, you have to be specifying them. It's starting to come up. We remove it a little bit. You want less fire, as you see. And now, here you go. You do half and then put it back in. You want more foam to come out, otherwise not all the foam will stay on top. This is coming up again, just watch out, put it up. Okay, one more time. I hope my mom will like it, otherwise she'll kill me. She doesn't always like the coffee I make for her, so I rarely make it for her, but I make it for myself and I'm happy with it, you know. People who have low standards sometimes are the happy ones. So if you're moving another country, you might have a lot of cultural shock. So just make sure you don't have high standards right away, otherwise you'll be disappointed anywhere you go. That would happen to me with all my relocations, and I had plenty of them. Now this is the coffee, and we'll give it to my mom. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you're ready to get your first coffee experience in Albania. Let me know in the comments how it was for you, being that in an office place or being that at a bar, restaurant after lunchtime or dinner. How was the experience? Was it a more community facing, or did you like more espresso or macchiato if you are at a bar? Or did you enjoy the Turkish coffee, which we have our own as well, made and produced here? So I hope you enjoy, and I'll see you next time. Take care.